So I kind of got into what I did last time, or a couple of the paintings, and started working on this and this and this. Before I know it, I'm like, I need to turn the camera back on for you guys. I don't want to do too much, and then you go, oh wow, how'd you do that? None of this at this point, should seem mystical or anything, but I did put the greenish frame around. I did freehand it, and I'm sure it looks freehanded. All that's freehanded. There's no straight edgy that I did. It took a while, of course, to negatively paint back, shaping them. I put some of this blue in here. I may even push that a little more. I don't know. There's a white frame inside. I don't know if that matters. I may do that. You probably noticed I took this brush and just put some little wiggles, accentuated that. I'll hit that a few more times. I'll put a little more white. And I think that's all I've done now, but I was getting ready to, there's a little place right there, you probably can't see it, that I scratched off. It was a little bump that happens sometimes, that I pulled off the painting a little while ago, and it actually pulled some paint up. Let's see, what do we want to do next? We got all kinds of things to do. It's just a matter of picking what we want to do next. This is doing okay as far as laying back for me. There's a stroke I put here that doesn't make sense, that I'll probably try to fix, which is a little harder than you might think. I don't know, maybe I don't need to put a sheen, because there is some movement. Maybe I just need to put a little more of that so it makes sense. I just don't like how it doesn't. Not a big deal, but it's a deal. I think I wiggled a little more stuff down in here from the last time you all saw, but I mean, it was just it's just what you all see. It's this stuff, right? And tip of the brush, it just makes it look a little bit more like water, and that's what would be there, and that's really what's there. It's about making this stuff, when you step back, look like a reflection, and I think it's starting to look like a reflection. So, will this thing that's bothering me matter now that I think about it when that comes in? Probably not. When that comes in, what's that? It's the rail. Will I cheat on the rail? You betcha I will. I didn't cheat on that, but that handrail is a different story. I can get by with craziness there. Now this is harder than you think, actually. It may even be better, I don't know if I can do it like this, to have this away. That's probably better. So if I do this, right, and go, this paint is not like a Sharpie, right? It's going to smush underneath it and do all kinds of ugliness, probably. It's what's beautiful about this board that I've had forever. See, if I wanted it nice and thick, if that was the goal, I could smush it and do that, I guess. I just need a steady hand, to be honest with you. I don't know. What do you do? So what color? Obviously glance. It's a brown. It's a warm, which is important against all this cool. It is a warm. That doesn't mean it is burnt sienna, but it's close. Now, burnt sienna, even if it was burnt sienna is very transparent. So I'm going to need to put something with it. So what I choose to do is make this, it's got to be opaque. Now you can do it multiple ways. You can add other colors that have some opacity, or you can just add white, which is opaque, and you're going to paint it up there lighter or darker or whatever. Main thing is I cover the canvas, so I am not as concerned with this go of having it the highlight color. I'll probably, if you look underneath that top rail, it's dark. I'll probably look to do something a little darker, which you all know by now. It's my burnt sienna and ultramarine blue. So I want to get this. This is pretty tough because you got to get it the right consistency, because you don't want it to be transparent with a lot of water, but you also don't want it to drag. It's got to skim. So let's see how this does. Let me just lay it on here and see what happens. I can always wipe it off. What's straight? I don't even know what straight is. Let me make sure I've got that straight. I'm holding this on the edge. Is that straight? No, I got it wrong. You all knew that all along, didn't you? You all knew that all along. Been trying to tell me, and I didn't listen. So how? This is going to be rough, I'm telling y'all. And this go wasn't so rough, but the next one that's got to be parallel to that is going to be the mean one, right? So that's yeah, see, I had this. You all are at an angle, so it probably even looked worse, but it definitely, I was off. And that's really what I use that straight edge for, is just to give me the first line, and then I can reestablish it. This will be right here. Again, I'm going to let that happen, let that sneak up on that. I'm not going to take water and put that, I'm not going to go. I want this to look rough. So it's painted very dry brushy. Now, I definitely want it to stand out more than that. I just don't want that outside edge to be silly sharp, even though it might be. This is what's in focus. That's not, to me, as this can't be exactly the same focus, or it's going to me. That's what hurts some people's paintings. Kind of steps going on, maybe if you looked real close. All right, let's make a decision. Handrail. This tall. Handrail that tall. This is where I was talking about it's tough, because I got to get this. This can't be almost, kinda, pretty close. It's got to be, I better hit this pretty good. Oh, I moved it. Did you see that? Did you see me move it? Did you see me move it? Did I get it off? That's not too bad. I think it's a little higher over here. Just make it a little thicker. A little transparency. We'll put a little highlight. Well, it's going to be tough to put a highlight on that, isn't it, with that as light as this is. There would be one there, but what is that doggy doing? And this doesn't have to be like ridiculously straight. I mean, this is handrails, and I don't mean to say this is an old building. I mean, it's a restaurant, but it's also a pier, right? It's also a pier. Now, this is a little ugly spot there. Not that that's going to matter, because we're going to go back this way, right? We are going to go, and again, in reality, this comes way out. I don't want it to do that. This, let's see if I can freehand this. This is actually light. Not bad. Not bad. That's where we'll leave it for the moment. And again, this is going to have, and I'm just, because I got this on here, so the bottom of this should be here-ish. Nothing to the flame. So this, I assume this would be where that would end, right about there. Let's, no idea how much sun's hitting that or not or whatever. I'll just mix it dark, and then we'll go over it with highlights as we invent. I don't like inventing, but we have to invent here. So I'm just guessing that, I guess I probably should do it this way to make sure I get it pretty straight. So the bottom of that would be about right there. Not too bad, it'd be thicker than that. But that, at least that's straight. I'm guessing, we're gonna have to get this pretty accurate. I'm guessing this would have some light on it, but that's decent. This, of course, would wiggle a little and move in here. This would reflect. See, I don't have it. I ain't got it. It would reflect. That, I guess it would reflect right about in here, right? And this would do something like this. Something like that. Gotta invent stuff. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Now, none of this, luckily, there is actually some hand railing coming up through here, actually. And we'll do that here a little bit. Step back. It's reading okay. This still bothers me, but I'm assuming when these go in, I'll be able to live with it. That'll be something I'll know's there and nobody else will. I may hit a highlight a little bit more on that. I'm telling y'all, I know you get sick of me saying this, just talking as I'm doing this. There's nothing wrong with it. I just ain't used to it. Not that I ain't a talker. I just have not really ever done it. This is normally very quiet time for John. Is that dry enough? Probably not. I'm sure I've got that way too warm. This is going to end right there. These are going to end right there. And you notice, most people, if you've never painted, some of you all have probably never painted, most folks would not take a brush like I've got here to do lines. They would take a liner brush, right? Which about the only thing I use my script liner for is to sign my name. Right. Now, I have used it before to put little wiggles and things, but I'm never going to take it and do that stuff. To me, this is a good brush to load some paint and do this with. You got to have your hands steady. You notice what I'm doing is I'm committed. I'm committed to the stroke, but it's steady. Let me demo what I'm talking about. Right, so what I'm not doing this. Now, there's times that I'll do that, and you've seen me do that. If it's an area that's not that important and I'm putting a tree up here, I'll do something like that because you don't want it to be straight. But if I'm wanting to do a line, I don't want to do this. Let me wiggle. You want it to be a nice, flowing stroke. So that's done again from your wrist, it's done from your elbow, it's not done with your fingers. Not done with your fingers. Sorry about that. It's reading pretty decent. Let me do it this way. I don't know why I keep doing that. I feel like sometimes this is better, but if I've got a short distance, I'm pretty good about going this way too. I'm just trying to make this, poo-poo. Oh well. Kind of makes sense. Kinda. Now this, the oh wait, that's not right. That ain't right. Y'all let me do that? Daggone y'all. So that's right. If this distance is right. Right, so this would be the handrail, and this would be the underside, right? Hate inventing stuff. I don't like it. So we're going to end up putting handrails in there. Now, how do we do it? Well, you don't want it to look poopy. We don't like poopy. So, what I think I'll do, I'll wait for that to dry, because if I take something and kind of help me put these bigger posts in, I want those to be the right distance apart. So I don't want to wing it, because I can't have, like, there's a little gap here. This is a little, that's okay up there. I really don't want that here. So we'll let that sit just a bit. We'll let that sit a bit. So what's next? What can we do? Well, we can clean up stuff. Clean up a little bit. Got some ugly spots. A bunch of ugly spots. Daggone you. Daggone you. That's more better. That's more better. Sometimes when I see something that bothers me, if I look away, then I forget about it. I'm not saying you should do that. And again, there's times where I'll go away from this and put some interest up here, not down here, because I don't want you looking down here. Let's see here. From back here, and I'm 8 feet away, 7-8 feet away. It's reading pretty decent. It's reading pretty decent. I like there's something going on in the windows. This I'm feeling better about. Look, it's looking to me more like there is light shining down at that angle. God, I want to put it over that window. But I guess that's good enough. That looks okay. I need that line a little straighter if I don't want to be too abstracty. You can always do little things like put that more pure red in there. So we got Pier19, and I don't want to redraw this. I don't. I may have to though, because that's the bottom. I'm going to say that's the top, and that's me really reducing the size of this thing. his mind. He lost his mind. Obviously not as good going that direction. Too much paint. But you see, that's fatter. It's fatter, but I gotta have Pier19 fit in there. You see my dilemma? Are you digging my wrap? All right, let's no, I just don't know. Let me take this brush. And I'm really just killing time. Take this brush. Gosh, can I possibly do it? Just gotta commit. Just gotta commit. And I will negatively paint that a little bit. This bottom one was better. I had too much paint. That's my excuse. I had too much paint on my brush. That's more better. More better. So when I am doing something like this and I need it to fit, it's so hard to put a P here and an I here, and then then I'm here instead over here. So what I do is I look and go, and whether it's right or wrong, doesn't matter. If I look here, that G in fishing trips and the A in bay are right smack dab in the middle, right? Right in the middle. Don't read very good, does it. And I mean, you don't have to make it perfect, but I would like you to be able to read it. Bees are tough. Bees are tough. That's all right. It's not perfect. But neither am I. Can we possibly make this work? Let's see if we can do this. And there's an F over here. And this is how I have to sneak up on this to make it fit. And there's an S here. Now, this may fail. This may be a big fail because I don't know if these letters are going to fit in here. So there's an H, I, there's an S, I, N, G, fishing trips. It's a good thing I'm okay with this looking hand drawn because it is. Because it is. Even though it's not in reality, it just is on my paint. And I'm okay that all these letters don't show. Because it's kind of a beat up little size, so. You probably couldn't see a daggone thing I did you? I am sorry. Deep. see. And weather a little bit more. So let's locate. There's a lot of drawing and stuff. Man, that's not, man, I don't dig it. I don't dig all these letters. I don't care that the Pier19 goes all the way to the sign. Again, if you ask me what this looked like from memory, I would probably remember that it was yellow, and I would remember that the sign was red, but I wouldn't remember that it stretched almost to here, there, and stuff. So that's the excuse that I'm going to make for not being able to draw this very well. So again, you saw how I have to fit things. I'll call it the base of that R, the main upright of the R, I'm going to call in the middle, which is pretty dead burn close. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take pure red, which is not smart, because if I make an error, this is going to be hard. Well, you know what? I just talked myself out of it, didn't I? Let's try to locate it. Let's just do let's do a color close to this, but it definitely stands out. How about that? I'm being chicken. I'm being a chicken. So we want to think about the height. You know, if you were wanting it, if this really had to be perfect, and you know, it should be. You notice I just kind of made that line by hand, right? I made these by hand, but doing letters and having them is hard. It just is. I'm not going to make it sound like. So ideally, I have a little kind of guideline there and one there. Could I take you know, one of these straight edges to help? Yeah, and I may do that later. But for right now, I'm going to put a skinny base, and I know it needs to be bigger than that. I know it needs to be bigger. So if that is the way, if that's it, then here would be the E. Trying to think of the top and the bottom as much as I can. And this would be like that, right? And again, I have to remember this is going to be, I'm going to make these letters bigger than that, bolder than that. So let's go ahead, let's do that pretty